So the next phase is test the waters and iterate. And that's a phase that is generally undervalued. As Sophie just said, I think it's super, super important to talk to a few key investors before you go out broadly and really start to push your message out to the investor community. So I strongly recommend that you pick 3 knowledgeable, good investors, new investors, not existing investors, and do a 1-hour call with all of them. So this should probably not be the top 5 or the top 10 investors that you want to approach, but it should be really insiders in your industry, people you respect, and you want to just test your initial deck, your thoughts with these people. So how do you find them? I think the best way really is if you talk to co-founders, other co-founders, ideally in your industry. Ask them about what are really cool investors they have, maybe board members, people who have really supported them in the past. And introductions from them would be probably most valuable. You can, of course, also talk to your board members, to advisors, to people around you. In general, I think networking in startups is super, super important. When I was doing my first startup almost 20 years ago, I was always a bit afraid at the beginning to talk too much about my idea, maybe because I was not sure how good it is and also like if others would copy it. I have completely changed that. Nowadays, I talk to everybody about the idea. I try to know everybody in the industry. So this network is important and you want to pick 3 great investors. So then you want to do 60-minute calls with them and you need to be radically open and transparent with them. You don't want to just hear them say, yeah, this is an interesting, good case, but you really want to ask them, what are things that you dislike about the case? What do you think about the story? Can we improve that? What are concerns that we should better address in our case? What are things you really like that we can maybe even position better? So that's the kind of discussion you want to do. And after each call, you want to improve your deck, your story, do a next step and really make this solid. And once you have done that, you want to go, if you already have existing shareholders, you want to go to them, tell them, look, this is how we see it, this is the story, this is more or less the key terms, the valuation, the investment amount, and see whether they participate. And it's super important that at least some of them, the ones who can participate. So that's a question you very often get from new investors. Are your existing investors going to invest? Because it's a clear sign whether they like what is happening at your company or not. Most probably not all of them will participate, but make sure you excite them and that you get a substantial contribution also from your existing investors. Once you have talked to these 3 new investors and to the existing shareholders, you should have really a tough internal discussion with your co-founders, with your investors, with your team, whether it's right to kick off the round. If you feel we need to improve some stuff before we can actually kick it off, this is now the time to wait, maybe focus on one aspect where you want to show more traction over the next months or so before you then go out. So really take this decision very explicitly and very carefully whether now is the time to really go out.